We've got the latest rumors on Kirk Cousins potentially coming to the Falcons in free agency on tap for you guys today. Welcome into Falcons Today. Hope everyone's having a wonderful President's Day and a nice day off. I saw too many good rumors on Kirk Cousins not to get a video out to you guys, along with a handful of you commenting on previous videos. What are the chances of Cousins coming down to Atlanta? So I figured this is great timing. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins on today's show. Because Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated did a recent write-up with everything he is hearing, and that included a little bit on Kirk Cousins. So let's go right to the horse's mouth and see what Albert Breer had to say. The current Minnesota Brass, now going into its third season, really likes Cousins. But it's also been made clear that they're not going to go contractually where the previous regime did twice, and give Cousins a fully guaranteed deal. Now, the rumored price from a beat reporter at the Pioneer Press, a local newspaper in Minnesota, is that Cousins is seeking a 2-year, $90 million fully guaranteed contract. And that's a big payday for Kirk Cousins, right? When you look at what he's done over the last 4 seasons, of course, coming off an Achilles tear he suffered against the Packers midway through 2023, but 2021, 2022, I mean, you can say those were two, if not of his best seasons, along with 2020 also included in there. Like 3 straight 4,000-plus yard years. That's not a number to take lightly. 35, 33, 29 touchdowns. The interceptions have gone up and down as the seasons have gone on. But I think Kirk Cousins is looking at last year's free agency market where Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Geno Smith all got 3 to 4 year contracts, with the floor being $72 million. Now, Derek Carr is by far, I would say, the best. I mean, by far, actually. But he's the best of the three, and he got $37 million on average. I'm guessing Kirk Cousins isn't looking to just barely beat Derek Carr's $37 million. He probably wants north of $40 million. He's definitely not looking to reset the quarterback market, but I think he's looking between that $40 to $45 million on average pay range. So the Vikings post-combine, in my eyes, will have a much better idea as they sit at number 11 in the draft as to whether or not they can move up, right? I've talked about this before on the show, but at the NFL Combine, the head coaches and the GMs, they get together for steak dinners and old fashions every single night. And that's where a lot of deals tend to be birthed and made and conceived. And so I think the Vikings will learn, hey, are the Patriots standing pat at number 3? Are they going to go Jaden Daniels, or are they looking to maybe move out? And if they learn the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots all want to stay put because they all want to take a quarterback, well, then Minnesota might pivot and go, all right, now that we know that we can't get a top quarterback this year, we can't trade up, and we don't really like what we saw from maybe J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, or Michael Penix to go quarterback at 11, let's turn back to Captain Kirk, who they have talked to over the last couple of weeks. So there has been some dialogue and conversation there, and re-engage in talks and ultimately try and strike a deal if things don't go our way at the draft. So wait till after the Combine to get a much better sense and a much better picture as to how the dominoes are going to fall. Now, speaking of the NFL Combine, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because I am telling you guys, the Combine is where a lot of rumors start to pick up traction, and I don't want you to miss anything in the latest for the Atlanta Falcons quarterback position. So make sure to subscribe and help us reach 20,000 subscribers, an awesome milestone that we are just a few hundred away from. Now, we've got more from Albert Breer here, who talked about what he's hearing from Kirk Cousins, and here's what he said. That said, the success he's had in the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan offense, both early in his career with Kyle in Washington and over the last 2 years under Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, and before that with Kevin Stefanski and Gary and Klint Kubiak, would ostensibly make him an attractive candidate to join new offensive coordinators in Las Vegas, Luke Getsy, or Atlanta, Zac Robinson, who have had strong ties to that coaching family. And I fully expect the Falcons to pursue Kirk Cousins, adding Zac Robinson, who was with with Sean McVay in LA, which is where Kevin O'Connell, his current head coach in Minnesota, was before getting the head coaching gig. So there have been a lot of benefits to Kirk Cousins' game when he's played under that Sean McVay style of offense that cliche people love to throw out there. So I'm sure it would be a much better fit in Atlanta than maybe some other spots because of that Zac Robinson influence and the way he's going to call the offense and the way they're going to design things, which will have a lot of familiarity and a lot of the same jargon and lingo that he's been using in Minnesota. And I also think there are more reasons than just Zac Robinson for Atlanta to have interest in Kirk Cousins, right? Last year, what did they do? They sat on their hands. They put all their eggs in the Desmond Ridder basket with a backup plan of Taylor Heineke. And it fell flat on its face. It cost Arthur Smith his job. It cost the Atlanta Falcons a playoff spot. With just marginally better quarterback play, the Falcons would have hosted a playoff game and maybe beat the Eagles, and who knows from there on. But sitting on their hands did them a disservice. And the same goes for the Las Vegas Raiders. So I am sure Arthur Blank, and they have talked about the quarterback position extensively throughout this offseason, is not looking to sit on their hands in back-to-back off seasons. So if that means maybe paying a little bit more than what they're comfortable for Kirk Cousins, they may very well go that route than the let's sign Jacoby Brissett type of quarterback. Let's bring in Mitch Trubisky, right? I think they are willing to overspend on Kirk Cousins than repeat their 2023 failures. So let me get your opinion. Would you sign Kirk Cousins to a $90 million contract? He will be 36 by the time the season kicks off. He is coming off an Achilles injury. Can't even say for sure whether or not he will be ready by week 1, right? Achilles injuries tend to take 10 to 12 months, somewhere in that range. And so for a guy that suffered an injury in October, it could run into the season. So there are a lot of things to factor in here. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. For me, I like this as a plan C. And we're going to run through my plans A, B, C, and D in just a moment, and I'll expand more on that. But really quickly, a shout out to our sponsor today at PrizePicks. So if you are looking to put some money down on the latest games, get started with PrizePicks today, where it is daily fantasy made easy, and you can pick 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less on their projected stats. Now, with the NBA All-Star break going on here, there may not be a ton of action, but we do have the Daytona 500, which was delayed due to weather. And for full transparency, I have no idea what any of that means on screen. But I've got a NASCAR buddy, and he told me to make these selections. So I'm riding with it, and you can ride with me or you can fade me, but just do it at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Now, I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Let's run through my dream quarterback path for the Atlanta Falcons. Plan A is somehow get Drake May or Jaden Daniels. Whether that involves a slight trade-up, whether that involves just staying put at number 8 and they fall to you, that is plan A for everyone, right? I think we're in agreement. Now, that may not be likely if both those guys go top 3 and none of the teams in top 3 want to trade out. So, what's plan B? Justin Fields. I have trading for Justin Fields ahead of Kirk Cousins, and I'll explain more in detail in just a second. And then plan D is pick a CFL team, because if it gets beyond these 4 quarterbacks here, starting for Atlanta in 2024, let's go with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think they're going to have a good year. That's plan D right there. But let's talk about Justin Fields and Kirk Cousins for a moment. Why do I have trading for Justin Fields ahead of Kirk Cousins in my dream quarterback path for the Atlanta Falcons? It's no secret. I have been at the forefront of trading for Justin Fields on this channel. It goes back to October. But when you look at the stats, I can't make an argument that Justin Fields has been better than Kirk Cousins. No, of course not. Kirk Cousins, on paper, has been a better quarterback than Justin Fields in pretty much every single element except for the running abilities. And this is a huge decision. If Atlanta is truly presented, if Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot truly have an opportunity to sign Kirk Cousins because the Vikings aren't going to pay that amount, or make an offer to the Chicago Bears because the Bears want to trade Justin Fields, and they have to pick one road, this is a monumental decision. Do you want to go with the proven veteran quarterback and try and maximize the short term? Or do you want to roll the dice on a younger quarterback like Justin Fields, who has had some great moments, some great flashes, but ultimately doesn't have the consistency that we have seen out of Kirk Cousins? This is a major decision, and it's such a big decision that it's not one YouTuber should be making. It is one that Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot were hired to make. And I am very excited, and you should be excited to see if it ultimately comes down to one of these two guys, which path do the Atlanta Falcons choose? So, pick a quarterback for me down below in the comment section. Type 1 for Justin Fields, his jersey number, or type 8 for Kirk Cousins. Let me get your opinion on which quarterback you'd rather see in Atlanta. For me, I lean Justin Fields because we keep seeing this notion of Atlanta being a quarterback away tossed out there. And yes, with better quarterback play last year, they would have won more games. But can we be honest for a moment? Can we kind of cut through the bullshit here? I don't think the Falcons are just a quarterback away. They've got some great pieces. They got an awesome offensive line. They've got an up-and-coming running back in Bijan. They've got a great wide receiver in Drake London. They got Getsy Bates and A.J. Terrell. I'm not acting like this is a bad Falcons team. But I think this team is more than just Kirk Cousins away. And if the greatest argument to come up with to sign Kirk Cousins is insert Kirk Cousins, and this team is a playoff winning roster, a Super Bowl caliber team, then I'm game. But I don't think they are. I've got questions about the defensive line, right? Grady Jarrett's coming off a torn ACL. Calais Campbell, who led this team in sacks, is a free agent. We have questions at outside linebacker, at edge rusher, at CB2. No roster is perfect, but they only have one wide receiver under contract for 2024. I think this team is more than just Kirk Cousins away. And so for that reason, if it was one QB away and you really wanted to go on a Super Bowl run in 2024, 2025, then sure. I don't think that's the case here, which is why I like Justin Fields, because he offers you some long-term upside if it does pan out, and it's more than just maximizing the next 2 seasons. You've got an opportunity to find your franchise quarterback for the next decade when Justin Fields is turning 25 in 2 weeks. I think if this team was truly just one QB away, I'd be on board with Kirk Cousins, right? If this team went to the playoffs last year at 9-8 or 10-7, but Desmond Ridder choked it away with 3 picks at home in the playoffs, okay, insert Kirk Cousins, we're ready to roll. But I do think there are some more pieces that need to be added, which is why I think Justin Fields could be a better option because we're thinking long-term here because this team is not just Cousins away. All right. That's going to do it for us on today's show. I really appreciate those of you that take time out of your day to come hang out with us here at Falcons Today. Enjoy the rest of your day off, and we will catch up later.